We welcome you to the NCAA Division III Softball National Championship Series. Down to two final teams playing softball in 2022. The Thunder of Trine colliding with just down the road the captains of CNU. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbrandt, along with our entire NCAA.com crew. Sydney, this season comes down to either 2 or 3 games. We know this, just one game on the calendar today. Somebody will get that fast track to a national championship. It would be the first in either program's history. It's uncharted territory for the Thunder for the first time in the final pairing for CNU, their first time here since 2011.
So true, Lincoln, and an exciting matchup we have here between the Thunder and the captains. A couple players to watch for both teams. Amanda Prather, the shortstop for the Thunder, but the doubles leader, actually hitting 2 home runs in this tournament to set the Trine up to hit the championship series. Rosie, a sophomore in the circle, getting some sunshine after battling weather earlier this weekend. And then we have Jamie Martin in the circle for the captains, National Freshman of the Year. And these freshmen in the circle that we've seen for the captains complement the stacked senior squad that leads this captains team this weekend. They're hoping to a national championship.
Trine is the visiting team in this first contest of the championship series, as it'll be Ellie Trine to lead things off, Taylor Murdoch and Amanda Prather, as you noted, the top third of the order. They will face the talented freshman, the All-American Jamie Martin, who's trying to win a national championship right here in her home state. The 2021 National Championship Trophy resides right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, 4.5 hours from here at Virginia Beach. The captains are trying to repeat that feat, as they are hoping to take the title back to Newport News here in Virginia. The fans have made their way out on this Memorial Day. Hope that your day is off to a good start. Great to have you with us, as in a moment we'll be underway with at least 7 innings of championship caliber softball. Donnie Dankelson, again, 2 coaches who have become synonymous with their programs. For Donnie and his staff, 3 times Region Staff of the Year. As right now, 539 wins in his tenure. He's been the only head coach Trine has known since joining D3 back in 2004. Keith Parr, a 1999 graduate of CNU. His 19th year, 23rd overall with the program, 633 wins, leading the captains. We mentioned last time they made it this far, it was right here on this dime in 2011. They had knocked off programs like Eastern, DePaul, UT Tyler, only to come up short in 2 games against Linfield. Both teams pursuing their first national championship here this week. Ellie Trine set to get things started against Jamie Martin. Martin this week, 3 appearances, 1 win, 1 save, and 13 innings of work. As scattered 13 hits throughout those ball games. For Trine, 2 for 8 this week with a couple runs scored, an RBI, and a pair of walks. Trine, your player of the year in the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association. And a slow roller back to the freshman. Martin able to turn and fire, 1 away.
And Ellie Trine going to be one of those catalytic players for the Thunder offense. Not able to get a solid hit on that ball. Swings a bit over the top. Jamie Martin there for that first out, making quick work of Ellie Trine.
It's going to bring up the first team all-conference senior right fielder for Trine. She was on that squad that made it to UT Tyler's campus for the 2019 championship week. First pitch to Murdoch. This week she's 2 for 9 with 4 runs scored, a couple of RBI. She has one of the 4 home runs for the Thunder this week. As she sees Martin for the first time. CNU was your number 1 seed coming into Salem. Trine, your 6th seed. Yesterday we saw the 1, 4, 5, and 6 seeds. Your final 4 survivors, as this one fouled straight back. Sydney will bring her glove next time. Again, Championship City here in Salem, Virginia. So many D3 memories in football, men's basketball, and softball specifically. Of course, yesterday, more memories made in women's lacrosse just down the road at Roanoke College. And an all-NESCAC final. The 1-1 for Martin. As this one off the fingertips of Carmichael. I think she thought she had a pretty good read on that. And regardless of how you score it, Murdoch is on with one out.
Yeah, it looks like Carmichael thinks that she's actually going to have to come in for that ball. And don't blame her. That looks like there was a bit of a jam sandwich there for Murdoch. But just takes a misstep forward.
It is an error on the shortstop. And what that means is a base runner for Amanda Prather. Now, when she does home runs, she does them big. 2 days ago, grand slam. Yesterday, a 3-run blast. She has 8 RBI this week. Would she consider settling for just a 2-run home run?
Yeah, Prather's been impressive this weekend. Like I shared in our opener, going to be the doubles leader for this offense. And no better time for her to start to rely on the long ball. Obviously seeing it well, and again, no better time to be seeing it as well as she is.
Puts down the bunt to test the pitcher, Martin. They'll get the out. As Murdoch, who reached on that error, is now in scoring position, but with 2 away. Successful sacrifice from Amanda Prather. I think everybody we've seen hit a home run this week has also executed a bunt.
We have to be able to do both.
Here is Ashley Swartout. Swartout 2 for 9 with a walk this week. This is just the 4th game for both teams. They each opted to win their first 3 games for the easiest path possible here. Either of them could have been pushed to a if necessary game yesterday, but they were each able to hand a second loss to their opposition. Think about it for CNU. To get here, they had to beat, over the past week plus, the last 2 national champions. They beat TLU, the 2019 title winners, yesterday, eliminating them from the bracket. And they swept Virginia Wesleyan last weekend in a couple of nail-biters. Back in the Super Regional, a 3-2 victory on Friday, and then on Saturday, a 9-inning victory for CNU. The 1-0 to Swartout.
Good choice by Swartout, but great pitch by Jamie Martin. Takes a little bit off that.
Swartout's second team all-conference this year. All-regional team this postseason. And down on strikes, Jamie Martin. And the defense let one runner access the base paths, but they'll leave that runner stranded in scoring position. Top of the first in the books. Time for the captains to grab their bats. No shortage of All-American pitchers made their way to Salem, but perhaps no pitcher has shined brighter than Adrian Rossi. Went almost 2 complete games through the first 2 games for Trine, as she threw 2 appearances, 2 victories to show for it, 12.2 innings of work. That first complete game was a extra inning, 8-inning affair. She's allowed just 3 runs so far, struck out 11. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you. Fans from Virginia and Indiana making their way out. The umbrellas are here, but that's just for shade. Just 1 day of rain this week, as we are on schedule to crown national champion tomorrow. Here's Caitlin Abernathy to face Rossi.
There's a bit of a redemption story this weekend for Adrian Rossi, who had to throw and win over 2 days in extra innings with a ton of weather. Seemed like in that first matchup against Eastern, she could not catch a break. Every single time the weather would kick up was when she was on the mound. She had to figure it out and figure out a way to keep Eastern off balance, which she did. And now she's here in the championship series with beautiful sunny skies.
This is Trine's 4th championship week. This is already their best finish. 2019 had been their best mark when they tied for 3rd, losing just prior to the championship series. Abernathy at the plate with one of the 3 home runs this week for the captains. And she's 2 for 8 with 4 runs scored, 4 walks, and an RBI. This is all just off the top of my head. So Abernathy, Bailey Roberts, Caitlin Hasty, the top third of this order. This one poked out towards left. Coming in on it, able to make the catch, Anna Gill. That's a big out.
It's going to be a tall task for both teams to keep both of these catalytic leadoff hitters off the base paths. Abernathy coming into today's game at 436. Again, one of those seniors for the senior leadership for the captains.
Bailey Roberts came into this week hitting .354, but obviously that's going to be hard to maintain against 7 of the toughest teams in the nation. So all she has done this week is go 6 for 12, hitting .500, including a home run and a double sprinkled in for fun. Not bad for a number 2 hitter in this lineup for the captains.
Yeah, Bailey Roberts and Caitlin Hasty, who we'll see in just a second. 2 responsible for much of the run production, RBI production of this captain's offense. Bailey Roberts, again, another one of those players seeing the ball really well right now and peaking just at the right time.
She faces Rosie, the conference pitcher of the year in the MIA, out of Schoolcraft, Michigan. She was your regional most outstanding player and your most outstanding pitcher, sweeping those top awards last weekend against Case Western Reserve. She has continued that form here this week in Salem. These were your only 2 unbeaten teams going into yesterday. They stayed that way. Now be mindful that regardless of whether or not one team had a loss coming into today, we'd be starting clean. It's a best of 3 game series moving forward. Off the handle, count stays 2-2 to Roberts. 1 game today, either 1 or 2 tomorrow, depending on how it plays out. Couple of great staffs and impressive programs. Another one fought foul from Roberts. Again for Trine, only their 4 seniors had really experienced a full softball season due to the uniqueness of the last couple of years. They started this year 0 for 7. They were in that preseason competition against some of the best Division III opponents. And that is strike 3 looking for Bailey Roberts, 2 away. First strikeout for Rosie.
Well, and Lincoln, we've talked about how important it is for teams to capitalize on mistakes. Adrienne Rosie may have wanted that one back. She actually crosses her catcher up, misses her spot. Bailey Roberts does not capitalize on that gift she got from Rosie.
Here's Caitlin Hasty, an All-American player and an All-American personality. And she'll take that one. She was fun to watch yesterday, even in a high-stakes ball game. Stayed loose, kept her teammates loose. She's 2 for 6 this week with 4 walks. As the captains have been walked 9 times, she and Abernathy have been 8 of those 9 walks. A couple of RBI and a run scored. See if she can spark something here against Adrienne Rosie.
We've seen some big swings from Hasty all weekend long, and no surprise, she is leading this team with 18 home runs on the year.
Underneath this one, shortstop Prather, left fielder Gill. It's going to be Gill who squeezes in her 2nd out of the inning and the 3rd for Trine. 1 inning complete. Quickly on to the top of the 2nd, where it will be the middle 3rd of the Thunder lineup. Couple of zeros on the board in the 1st inning. Jamie Martin and Adrienne Rosie getting the nod from their coaches in the circle. For all Jamie Martin knows, the captains come here every year and play for a national championship. She's 1 for 1 with a few more years left of eligibility. National Freshman of the Year. That's going to make the recruiting for Keith Parr a little bit easier in terms of pitching. He's got 2 talented freshmen, along with Kate Alger. Scarlett Elliott to lead things off here for Trine. Trine stranded 1 runner in scoring position back in the 1st after an infield error from the captains.
And Jamie Martin introducing that off speed early this game. And she in the 1-2 punch with Kate Alger Martin is going to throw a bit harder, have a little bit more movement, rely on her defense, pop-ups, flyouts, which we've already seen last inning and all weekend long. But she's not necessarily going to blow it by them, really going to rely on her speed, low 60s, upper 50s.
Scarlett Elliott already in an 0-2 hole against the All-American Martin. She'll take that one outside. Home plate umpire is Leslie Anderson. John Cambridge, our umpire at first. Stacy Stobo at third. Congratulations to them, earning the right to work the National Championship Series. Game 1 here today. And 1-2 will just stay outside. 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up this inning for Trine, beginning here with Elliott. Scarlett 2 for 9 this week with a home run and a double. An RBI and a couple of runs scored. Whips around on that one, but foul. Donnie Dankelson talking to his players after their win yesterday with the refrain of, why not us, why not now? CNU with a similar message. Every reason to believe that they can be the second straight team here in Virginia to keep the title in their backyard. Two to Elliott. I mentioned CNU was here in this situation back in 2011. It was a best-of-3 game series back then against Linfield. Linfield would take each of the first 2 games. This is the 3rd overall championship week for the captains. I mentioned Trine in their 4th. We've seen Trine more recently. And is even patiently waiting for that one. Elliott will find it foul.
I'm interested to see what Martin chooses to throw here. Generally, if a hitter is going to be on time for change, going to be on time for outside, wouldn't be surprised if we see something out of the zone, up around the letters, or maybe down on the inside corner.
Again, the 2-2. Another ball fought foul. Second straight year crowning the D3 champion here in Salem, Virginia. Next year we'll shift over to the Central Time Zone in East Texas, Marshall, Texas. East Texas Baptist, a former national champion in their own right this past decade. They'll be hosting us on that turf in a renovated venue. Count goes full after fighting off several pitches.
That's a great spot there by Martin, really using that backdoor curve. What is going to look like it's in the box on a right-handed hitter. Tail in nicely to just catch the corner of the plate. Doesn't quite get the call this time.
And there's the first out of the second inning. What an at-bat from Scarlett Elliott, but it's Jamie Martin who wins the staring contest.
It was a really good eye there by Elliott, but that last one looked a little bit too good. I'd argue that second to last pitch was probably the ball that Elliott could have squared up with that swing.
That may have been a double-digit pitch at bat. Here's Emma Beyer. Beyer's 1 for 6 this week. It was a double. Has scored 3 times, has walked 3 times, has managed to swipe a couple of bases along the way. Beyer, a 300 hitter coming into this week, was your super regional most outstanding player for Trine.
And Jamie Martin did not get the start the very first day of this tournament. That went to Kate Alger. And we saw Martin struggle a little bit in that relief role. She really thrives in being the starter in the circle for her team.
Ultimately, they complemented each other. Alger with 2 wins this week and a save. Martin with 1 win and a save. Alger worked 10 innings. Martin worked 13 coming into today. But it's Martin with the nod here. That is 3 straight strikeouts from the freshman on the big stage. And she sends Beyer back to the dugout to bring up Mercedes Doherty, 2 away.
Jamie Martin really moving the ball nicely. Again, using that curve. A lot of spin on that ball. Looks like she's still continuing to catch the Thunder off balance.
Limited at-bats for Mercedes Doherty this week. We've seen her as a pinch hitter, we've seen her as a DP, but the fifth-year senior, 2 for 3 with an RBI in her opportunities. Coach Dankelson calls her a leader regardless of whether or not she's in the lineup, one game to the next. A big cut there and an 0-2 hole. Doherty bats 7th here today. Bailey Roberts doing her best to frame that one, as Martin was eyeing a 4th straight strikeout. Doherty was last year's Conference Player of the Year. Numbers down a little bit this year. This one's going to be out of play, foul. But it gives us a good look at this beautiful venue here. There's a reason why the NCAA continues to let Salem and the Moyer Sports Complex host, along in partnership with the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. The 1-2. Poole at second, Curran in right. It's Curran who'll make the catch, and that's your 3rd out. So that's 5 straight Thunder batters retired, as we still seek a lead for one of these two teams. Captains are up next. 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up. Your Coast to Coast Athletic Conference head coach of the year, Keith Parr. Mentioned 19th year as head coach of the Captains. We haven't mentioned the obvious nugget about CNU. They are 45-1 on the year. So Trine, to become national champion, has to do something to CNU over the course of 2 days that the entire schedule has not been able to do to CNU this whole season. That's hand them 2 losses. We're not saying it's not allowed. Trine comes in now at 35-11 after winning both conference regular season and tournament titles. CNU's conference produced 2 of the 8 teams we saw this week. The Storage Seagulls of Salisbury were also here. They were the number 2 seed. Mentioned yesterday came down to the 1 seed, 4, 5, and 6. Seeding doesn't mean too much after that first day.
Well, a nod to the Coast to Coast Conference, both CNU and Salisbury in this weekend. Tough to do, much less be from one conference.
Especially if your conference only has 5 teams.
Mm-hmm. Lots of great competition there in the Coast to Coast. And what I love about Coach Parr is he's been able to land with his team this year that they can't take anything for granted. So much has been taken away over the last couple of years. Many of these athletes extending their careers if they can. But it's really all about taking advantage of the opportunities that come your way. And this captain's squad, with all of the talent they have, top to bottom, has certainly done that this year.
Katie Curran is 3 for 11 this week with 3 RBI and a run scored. Also has stolen a base. All 3 of those singles so far. And she's chasing. Adrian Rossi with the strikeout. 1 away.
Rossi making quick work of Curran. Does a great job with that swing and miss pitch, starting it at the chest, moving it way up out of the strike zone. And we've seen quite a few players on multiple teams get fooled by that pitch. The closer it gets to your eyes, the better it looks. And often a pitch you want to lay off.
Here's Brooke Griever, 3 for 11 this week with 3 runs scored and 2 RBI. And she faces Adrian Rossi here with 1 out, nobody on. CNU had to beat the Bulldogs of TLU yesterday, and, well, it took extra innings, Sydney. First batter in the 9th, gone.
Yeah, and Griever taking care of business with one swing and extra innings for the captains.
A walk-off to keep them unbeaten this week, as CNU was the first team to punch its ticket into today's championship series. Behind the count here, 1-2 to Rossi.
It's going to be important, especially in these pressure cooker moments that we've seen all weekend long, that players aren't over swinging, aren't pressing when they're in their at-bats, being able to make adjustment pitch to pitch, at-bat to at-bat. That was a big swing we saw there from Griever, but I just want to note how controlled that swing was as well. Had an idea of what she was looking for, just wasn't able to capitalize.
Able to lay off that one. Just of note, these were the two teams that hit the most home runs this week. Each had 3 different players hit a home run. As CNU tallied 3 home runs, Trine tallied 4, as Amanda Prather, we noted, double-dipped with both a grand slam and a 3-run shot. Captain's still looking for their first hit today of any kind. As this fouling out of play, count stays at 2-2.
Both Griever and Katie Curran are just shy of double-digit home runs on the season, both at 9 to join Hasty and Bailey Roberts, who are hitting 18 of 13 home runs so far this season, respectively.
2-2, too high.
Of the teams we've seen so far this tournament, if there is a team that's going to be winning with the long ball, we could most likely predict, based on the numbers, it's going to be the captains. Trine has a couple players with 6 or 7 home runs, but they're not going to use the long ball as an offensive strategy in quite the same way.
Trine's very first game this year, March 4th, against a team called Christopher Newport University. Have you heard of them? For CNU, it was their 4th game of the year. CNU won it 5-0, scoring 4 runs over the first couple of innings and never looking back. As that was a game where Brooke Griever and Katie Curran would homer. Ultimately, it was Kate Alger who went the distance in that win. Anna Keppel was your starter, with Adrian Rossi coming in for the final 5 innings in relief. As this will stay foul off the bat of Caroline Helmer. So Trine starts and finishes 2022 on a familiar note. They're hoping that they've made some progress and learned some things since that challenging start to the season. Mentioned a lot of teams opted to test themselves. Trine would start 0 for 7. And yet here they are. Would only lose 4 games after that. Caught looking. Rossi ends the second the way she started it, adding a K to her resume and keeping us scoreless. Through 2. Another chance to take lead heading into the 3rd. You understand the namesake, the Blue Ridge Mountains, here in Virginia. They showed up late this week. They were not here the opening game when we had 4 contests, and both these teams were en route to their first wins. Mountains showed up day 2, but so did some rain. Well, Jamie Martin, we mentioned, she did not pitch against Trine at the start of the year. Alger went the distance. The 2 freshmen have been fantastic this year for CNU.
And not to mention, Alger came back maybe a couple weeks ago after being out with injury. And what a time to come back after having been able to throw a whole lot.
Yeah, both these teams had lost some pitchers for Trine. It was Keppel who missed some time after getting that start, going a couple of innings against CNU.
And Keppel and Clausen did a great job yesterday, ultimately able to secure the win for the Thunder without having to go to Adrian Rossi, make sure she's fresh for today.
A 1-1 count now after that foul ball from Gill. Hannah Gill, 3 for 7 this week with a couple of runs scored, an RBI, and a stolen base, coming through in that 8 spot. The 1-1 from Jamie Martin.
Gill hasn't necessarily had the star power for this Trine offense like some of her teammates, but she's been incredibly consistent this weekend. Played great defense, has been catalytic for her team, getting on base with a couple outs on the board, taking care of business here.
Trine has only batted one of these pitches from Martin onto the ground. That was a sac bunt from Prather back in the first. Everything else has been a strikeout or up in the air, including one that led to an error and the lone base runner today for the Thunder. It's Gill, Phillips, and then top of the order with Ellie Trine. Off speed, just got a piece of it.
We're seeing Jamie Martin's game plan change depending on where we are in the lineup. Saw the off speed a lot more often for hitters 1 through 5 early in the count. Relying on that off speed pitch here now that she's got 2 strikes.
Well, these hitters are battling, but both of our pitchers are shining so far. In for CNU, that's Jamie Martin out of Lorton here in Virginia. This is her 30th appearance on the year.
After making quick work of some of her teammates, Anna Gill here, probably about 6 or 7 pitches into this at-bat so far. Talk about productive at-bats, even if it doesn't result in a hit or getting on base, giving her team an opportunity to see as many pitches from Jamie Martin as possible.
4th strikeout for Jamie Martin through the last 5 hitters that she has faced. And she is the one dictating the tempo there. Not to be intimidated by the elder statesman.
And Gill choosing a great pitch. Jamie Martin just spinning it just out of reach. Continuing to settle in and be wheeling and dealing today.
Ainsley Phillips 1 for 6 with a double this week. Has an RBI and a run scored. It's also walked once. She's your 9-hitter for Trine before we are guaranteed to see the top of the order in a moment. See if she can reach to give Trine its 2nd base runner on the day. This count evens 1-1.
It looked like she tried to ask for time in the middle of the at-bat, but was not granted from the home plate umpire. It looked like she gave herself an opportunity to lock back in.
One pulled foul towards some late arriving fans. In CNU, never met Salisbury here in Salem. And Salisbury eliminated in that 6-game-in-a-day madness we had in back-to-back games. They showed up to our 3rd day unbeaten, and then in back-to-back games suffered a couple losses. You can blame Trine for a 5-inning 9-1 run roll victory against the Seagulls. Seagulls would turn right back around and suffer their 2nd defeat. CNU was able to sweep Salisbury in the conference championship in the 2nd year of the Coast to Coast. CNU's now won 22 straight. At one point this year, they had a 23 straight win streak. That was snapped by Averett. They would like to finish the year 24 in a row. Two balls, 2 strikes with 1 away to Ainsley Phillips here in the 3rd. Scoreless in our first game of the National Championship Series. Got her trying to climb for that one. And Jamie Martin Her 5th strikeout through the lineup for the first time.
Jamie Martin didn't get that last off-speed pitch, but she was sure able to make this pitch jump well out of the zone. Starts high, ends high. Again, using that rise ball. She and Rosie both using that rise ball for that swing and miss pitch late in the count.
Brings up Ellie Trine, who was able to put a ball in play. She grounded back to the pitcher, Martin, back in the first inning. Ellie was quiet yesterday. Mentioned 2 for 8 for the Conference Player of the Year. Has had a couple of walks and runs scored. See what she can do here with 2 outs. Second time seeing the pitcher. "85 degrees to start the day. This is our warmest day so far. We've already seen some grilling when we arrived at the venue. Everybody has their own way of commemorating Memorial Day. For us, it's typically watching championship caliber softball. This will stay in the infield. Third baseman Brooke Reaver asks for it. She's got it. Back-to-back 3 up, 3 down innings for Jamie Martin in CNU. Gives him another chance in the home half of the third to strike first. 7, 8, and 9 hitters still due up for the first time to face Adrian Rossi. Each team has maintained serve with their talented pitcher, and the defense behind them. We go on to the bottom of the third, scoreless. It's the bottom third of the order for CNU, beginning with Natalie Carmichael, 411 hitter this year, but she is looking for her first hit here in Salem, 0 for 8 with a run scored. She has walked once and stolen a bag.
Yeah, and Carmichael going to be one of those speedy lefties used to producing for this captain's offense. Hasn't been able to do so thus far in Salem. The opposing pitcher's done a great job keeping her off balance.
5th-year senior able to find an opening on that left side and has the first hit of the day for either team.
You may have heard that softball is a game of inches. You also may have heard that softball is a game of numbers. So looking at the numbers, looks like 0 for 8 on the weekend, but 411 coming into this weekend. Carmichael was due.
She's batting 1,000 in this championship series.
Carmichael with that split grip, able to poke it through the 5-6 hole.
Our producer Ryan was on top of that. He was screaming for 30 seconds during that break. Watch Carmichael. Bunt down from Proctor. Rossi over to first, and now Natalie Carmichael in scoring position with 1 away. Proctor with the sack bunt.
We've seen Proctor with a lot of RBI production as well for the captain's offense. We've talked about how important it is for teams to execute the fundamentals all weekend long. Often it's the team who makes the least amount of mistakes and executes that's walking away with the win. Proctor showing how important it is to be unselfish and trust the game plan.
Maddie Hull's 2 for 9 this week with an RBI. She's a 9 hitter who's been hitting .420 before arriving in Salem with 30 RBI. And Caitlin Abernathy on deck, barring a unique double play. Punched out towards left. That's in foul territory as Gill just not quite able to get to it. But no harm, just foul.
And Hull operating as a second leadoff here for the captains. And that's something teams really have to watch for, especially with the speed of Hull. I would say even the speed of Carmichael. Has some speed and some power at the lower end of this lineup. Teams are going to have to make sure that they are treating and respecting the numbers in 7, 8, 9.
Left side, Prather looks the runner back. Still has time to make the throw, and that's all you can ask for from your shortstop, Amanda Prather. She freezes Carmichael. Now 2 away.
Yeah, Hull not moving her feet there. Looks like she's a little bit too far in front.
Carmichael led off this inning with a single. She was bunted into scoring position. And she's going to be dancing around on your screen for the next pitch or so. As Caitlin Abernathy fouled out back in the first inning, 0 for 1 today. The All-American. Adrian Rossi again was brilliant, pitching 2 straight days in 1 game. It finally got the extra inning win and then turned around, and in their second game, all but the final out in that one. But we did not see her yesterday. They only needed to play 1 game. They went to Keppel in relief, kept Rossi rested, and here she is starting arguably the most important game in Trine history. Count stays 1-2 to Abernathy. Again, Trine has a 3rd place finish in its history. CNU once was in this series, your runner-up to Linfield back in 2011. Not going to do the math as to how old these student athletes were. With 2 outs, 2-2.
And Abernathy has a really athletic stance. Knows what she's looking for. Hasn't been fooled yet by Rossi trying to start that rise ball high.
So Rossi and Trine this year, after playing CNU in that opener, they saw TLU, Eastern Connecticut State, and then teams we've seen in recent years as well as this year in the Super Regionals like Bellhaven, East Texas Baptist, Randolph-Macon, Rowan, DePaul, Wartburg. They were tested. Diving stop to keep it in the infield. They're going to send the runner home. And now rethinking that, will throw it into left, and here's a second chance for the captains to come home and ultimately safe. Wow, a whole lot to unpack there, but here's your headline. The captains lead 1-0.
And I'm impressed that that collision did not end with an injury.
It starts with Emma Byer, a fantastic play at second.
Carmichael caught off third, but a miscue there in that throw.
And even here, you probably would have had obstruction, though not indicated. And it's CNU who almost ran themselves into an out at home, wind up being gifted those final 60 feet. Natalie Carmichael led off this inning with the first hit for CNU. It's a single from Abernathy. Obviously no RBI, but after a single, of course, now she's standing over on third base.
Yeah, some great heads-up base running for both base runners that CNU has seen. Carmichael having to dive back to third, get up, and be safe with a dive at home. And Abernathy doing a great job of watching as the play unfolds, seeing how many extra 60 feet she can take. That's a big heads-up play. We've still got 2 outs on the board and a hitter's count here for Bailey Roberts.
2-0 to Roberts. Again, Emma Byer at second. What an effort to keep that ball in the infield. Now, initially, you figured, well, surely the captains won't even look to round third, but I don't know if they assumed that ball was going to get by Byer. You would understand if they did. It looked like Byer was going to not only have a great defensive effort there, but be able to get an out at the plate. That is not how it unfolded.
In a moment like that, sometimes you just have to concede the bag to Abernathy. It was a good little piece of hitting and a great play by Byer, making sure that the ball doesn't get to the outfield, because if you know if that ball touches the green, Carmichael is for sure going.
Runner on third, 2 outs. 1 run has already scored for CNU. And Roberts down the line, that's a foul ball. And if you are Abernathy, you better make sure you are in foul territory. If that ball strikes you on the line, you are out, inning over. Captain's looking for insurance. Rosie will get the strikeout, and that's your inning. but not before CNU gets its first base, finds its first run through 3. They are up by 1 against the Thunder of Trine.
Little knock up the middle by Abernathy with a runner in scoring position. Byer makes an outstanding play that tries to throw home, but the extra throw here from the Trine catcher, this is really where the wheels start to fall off the cart, and we see Carmichael capitalize on one of those free passes given by that defensive miscue, and that throw was really the one piece that was unnecessary in that puzzle. She holds on to that ball. You just have a first and third situation, still 2 outs on the board. But ultimately the captains were able to capitalize.
Speaking of defense, Keith Barr every game swaps Nicole Apai in for Caitlin Abernathy out there in left until Abernathy's next at bat for defensive purposes in left. So Apai is now in left field for the captains. Backing up Jamie Martin. There have not been a lot of balls hit into play. We'll see if Apai ever has one sent her way. Jamie Martin has struck out 5 of the first 10 batters she has faced. Here's Taylor Murdoch. She reached on an error. Was stranded on second. That's the closest Trine or anybody at that point had come to scoring until last half inning. Murdoch's really stepped up offensively this year. 336 hitter with 6 home runs coming into this week, 22 RBI. That was a one-hitter for CNU freshman Kate Alger early in her career against the Thunder. And not even knowing that they were going to face necessarily the Thunder this week, Keith Parr said that win over such a quality program like Trine really gave us the confidence in our freshman pitching and who we were collectively moving forward. This one punched out towards right and swatted down by Katie Curran. And looking for the double. Murdoch is in sliding. Well, the worst case scenario is that ball goes over Curran's head. She was struggling to find it. She would have loved to have caught it, but knocks it down.
Yeah, it looks like she turns her hips a little bit too early on that ball. Needs to continue trusting herself because she's had to turn to her glove side. Many outfielders have a side that they're a little bit more comfortable with turning to. Looks like that turning of the hips just does not serve Curran well. And we've seen some outstanding plays from Curran in the outfield, so a bummer that she's a bit of a misread on that ball.
Well, I was wrong. It is not a double. It's the second time that Murdoch reaches today on an error. A 2-base error. It has Murdoch on second. Second time Murdoch's in scoring position. This time nobody out. Amanda Prather squared around last time for a sac bunt. Tying run in scoring position. As Brooke Griever, the third baseman, is cheating up. That's your third baseman sneaking into your picture right there.
Well, the challenge here that CNU really is going to need is their opponent was able to give up a free pass and they were able to capitalize it. And so making sure they have that conversation as they're going out to this fourth inning here. Hey, let's make sure that we're playing our game.
Prather, little modified swing, sends one into left. There'll be runners on the corners unless she tries to force an issue here, and she is. There's nobody covering first, so Prather can take some liberties. And finally, she'll settle in at first. We won't be surprised if she's looking to take second base in a moment. But that's taking advantage of the shift and the rotation, the respect of the bunt for Prather, and she just kind of poked one through that gap on the left side.
Yeah, a good heads-up look that Prather took. Probably had an idea of what she was going to get, what she was looking for. Bit of a modified swing.
So 2 on, nobody out. Sword out. And we'll shoot this one into the backstop. Sword out, struck out to end the first inning with Murdoch on second. Right now, Taylor Murdoch is standing on third. Amanda Prather on first. Only second base unoccupied. Murdoch reached on that 2-base error to right. 0-2 count now. Sort out your cleanup hitter in the lineup for opportunities like this one. Even a sac fly would tie this ball game up. And the count stays at 0-2.
Prather might have been going on that pitch about 3/4 of the way down to second by the time.
She had that single to put runners on the corners. The 0-2 to Swartout. 6th strikeout for your National Freshman of the Year, Jamie Martin. 2nd time at the expense of the cleanup hitter for Trine.
And Swartout, again, not going to be getting anything good. Maybe early in the count, she may be going to get one good pitch that she can take a hack at. If she doesn't capitalize on that, she may not get anything else.
Runner did take second, so 2 in scoring position. Here's Scarlett Elliott. No threat of a traditional double play. Puts down the bunt, trying to score this ball game. Not making the throw home, Martin. And there was no throw to be made at first. And now another runner coming home, trying to take advantage of a lapse. And the Thunder trying to do a little too much there. Scarlett Elliott with the RBI is standing on second. Prather out at home, but Murdoch has tied it up. Wow. Jamie Martin had a little shovel toss available, presumably to home plate for an effort there. And then moments later, the runner Prather was being sent, thinking that she was so down on herself, they might let her slip by.
Well, Elliott has been able to deliver with the long ball, and now it looks like a squeeze. Executes that beautifully. Pulls both corners in from the captain, so first is left unoccupied, so that'll be a hit. And Murdoch with a great heads-up play. And Prather just looks like they just get a little too ambitious, sending Prather.
Yeah, you've got to be able to shovel that ball, give your catcher a chance, and it looked like there was time. And then Trine, after being given the uncontested run, thought they might be able to eke out a lead. Instead, they lose that base runner on third and an out. Here's Emma Beyer, 0 for 1 today. The runner on second is Scarlett Elliott. She had the RBI single a moment ago. She at least took second on that play at the plate. Taylor Murdoch scoring to tie this ball game. Unearned run. Any other run this inning will also be unearned, but that doesn't make you feel any better. As Elliott, runner on second. Beyer with an 0-2 count to her name. Jamie Martin has struck out 6. Think about how both runs have scored in this ball game. And defenses, they've been able to execute just a little better. We'd still be scoreless.
There's the saying that it's not necessarily the best team who wins, but the team who plays the best. And we're seeing that here. It's ultimately, sometimes, Lincoln, it comes down to who can make the least amount of mistakes or who can execute with all of the different facets of the game most cohesively.
The 1-2. And the inning continues. Thunder now will take that lead. Emma Beyer brings Scarlett Elliott home from second as the Thunder are out ahead here in game 1.
No, this is not an offense that you want to generate this kind of momentum. This is what Trine has relied on all year, relying on the singles and doubles to generate and produce offensively. And Beyer, again, not trying to do too much, puts the barrel on it, doesn't even try to take second.
We mentioned Mercedes Doherty has had limited opportunities this week, but more often than not has come through. It's a big one here. 2 outs. Already 2 runs have scored in the 4th after CNU took the lead last half inning. Jamie Martin was in control. 5 strikeouts. Her first time through the lineup, has since added 1 more.
And again, a couple hits in an inning, a solo shot. Some of these can be treated as isolated events. Jamie Martin has been wheeling and dealing all game, but she needs the support of her defense behind her to make some of those routine plays, and we saw a routine play get missed. It started a bit of momentum for Trine out with Katie Curran's error. That ball in her glove definitively pops out. Tough break there for Jamie Martin.
It was Murdoch who shot it to right, out of the glove of Curran, essentially swatted down the 2-base error. Amanda Prather would single then next. And ultimately Prather, a couple batters later, out, heading home. Otherwise, you have 3 hits this inning for Trine. Doherty looking to add another. Two. That'll be a foul ball out of play. Sixth batter of this inning for the Thunder. Entered the top of the 4th, trailing by 1. They have turned the table, but looking for more. 7th strikeout for Jamie Martin, but between strikeouts 6 and 7, 2 Thunder runners come home. And it's now Trine leading by 1 here in Game 1 in Salem. Last time the captains were at the plate, they took a lead. Thunder returned the favor as Caitlin Hasty 0 for 1 today against Adrian Rossi, who's about to throw her first pitch today with a lead. Rossi has been one of the highlights and is clearly in the running for being your top pitcher this week. The first game this week for the Thunder. They were scheduled to play the 4th and final game of day 1. We did not complete it. We brought them back the next day. Turned out to be an extra inning affair. Rossi was able to pick back up, though, where she left off, being stingy in the circle. Hasty sends this one skyward and out of play. That one may have taken the shirt off of 1 or 2 fans for CNU. Either that or it's a different form of sunscreen. Hasty, Curran, and Griever, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up. They were 0 for 3 against Rossi the first time. Now, Trine hitters started to figure out. Captain pitching the second time through the lineup. If the captains can do the same.
And once you put up the numbers that Caitlin Hasty has put up, you can pretty much expect to maybe get 1 good pitch here from Rossi. That's why we've seen her walk so many times this weekend. Had to be incredibly patient in the box.
Big cut from the All-American, 2-2. Rossi out of Schoolcraft, Michigan. Pitcher of the year in her conference. Mentioned regional most outstanding player, super regional most outstanding pitcher. First team all-region this year. This playable. Prather staring up into the sun, has it. 1 away.
And you mentioned this Thunder defense has had to deal with a number of different elements so far this weekend. Actually, all of these teams have had to deal with rain, the dew on the outfield. Talk about controlling the controllables.
There's that circling hawk. Curran, who struck out back in the second inning. Comes up here, 1 out, nobody on. Mentioned from just up the road in Blacksburg. D3 Championship Series getting underway today here in Salem. They're doing the same over in Denver in D2. Byer to Swart out, 2 away.
And Curran was really important in that last matchup the CNU played. Made some outstanding plays in right field to keep them in the game. Also was able to produce a bit offensively.
Rosie looking for her 3rd perfect inning. Two runs on 3 hits, aided by 2 errors for Trine. CNU 1 run on 2 hits and 1 error so far. And Brooke Reaver flied out to center back in the second inning. Before that was her walk-off home run yesterday in our first game of the day. We had the chance to see anywhere from 2 to 4 games yesterday. We just saw the minimum as these two took care of business, each improving to 3-0 on the week. As Barry and TLU saw their seasons end. For Barry, their first ever trip to the championship week. For TLU, their 3rd straight. Bulldogs were back for 3rd straight year, the only team back in our field of 8 this year. Count 3-1. Here to Brooke Reaver. Out of play, full count.
We've seen for the most part the Trine defense take care of business. But part of the reason it's so important to make sure that you're executing the fundamentals and taking care of the routine plays. If you're not able to take care of the routine plays, you can't focus on the big plays, the game-changing plays, the ones that could alter the course of the game. And sometimes botching a routine play can be the play that shifts the momentum.
This one shot out towards right center. Your right fielder underneath it. Murdoch has it. That is a 3-up, 3-down response for Adrienne Rossi, who got to throw her first pitches of the day with a lead to defend. Well done. Through 4. It's Trine up by 1. Jamie Martin and the captains back out on the diamond, trying to keep this just a 1-run deficit as we are quickly moving along into the 5th inning. Trine took the lead with 2 in the top of the 4th. Lincoln Rose, along with former Houston Cougar Sydney Gearbrecht. As for Trine, it's Anna Gill, 0 for 1 today, out of the 8th spot.
And Anna Gill, not necessarily one of the more storied players on this Thunder offense. She broke her wrist in preseason. Well, she's had to battle that injury throughout the season in order to be healthy, to be able to compete here today. Going to have a lot of speed, but
whips her bat around on this one. Hool underneath it, 1 away. We'll resume talking about Anna Gill maybe around the 8th inning.
It's been consistent this week where I try to
maybe the 7th inning.
Brag about some of these players and swing themselves into an out.
Jamie Martin says keep it up. Jamie Martin wants to know what you have on Ainsley Phillips. Phillips struck out back in the 3rd, 0 for 1 today. Martin with 7 strikeouts, including 2 last inning, despite a bumpy ride. Martin had 13 strikeouts through her first 3 games this week. Well, while your pitchers for CNU are both freshmen, 6 CNU student athletes have already received their degrees throughout this year. Several have already, congratulations to them, secured positions in their field of expertise in addition to softball. And I know Coach is really proud of them. He keeps it in perspective. That's why you come to college. This softball stuff's pretty great, though. But work hard in the classroom, obtain a degree. He's been proud of them in all aspects. As for their keys coming into this week, again, he told us just need to do all the little things. The team that executes at the highest level will win this thing. We've seen both teams, though, with room for improvement. It has cost both of them runs, both of Trine's runs unearned. And for CNU, you could argue that run probably could have been avoided as well.
Well, and talking about executing at the highest level, probably not the defense that these two programs are used to seeing from each other. So sometimes you just got to wear it, know that you've got a lot of ball game left. You can make up for it. Trust your offense and trust your defense that once you make that error or make that miscue, have a bit of short-term memory, keep moving. Continue playing one pitch at a time.
We have 3 runs in this game. We have 3 errors in this game. Total of 5 hits. Your 9-hitter Phillips with a 2-2 count to her name against Martin.
Seeing Phillips have her head right on that. Anytime we see a ball fouled back as a pitcher, it's a good indicator, and as a hitter too, it's a good indicator that you have great timing, just happen to just miss. Whether with a different bat angle or maybe a different pitch choice.
Phillips knows the strike zone. She's the catcher for the Thunder. And she takes that one to send the count full.
And one of the big questions for Trine this year is who is going to be behind the dish? They're replacing 2 senior catchers.
Caught looking on the outer edge. 8 strikeouts now for Martin. As the freshman catcher will head back to get her equipment.
Again, that's a pitch that's a little bit too close to take on 3-2. At least one that you want to foul off if it's not what you want.
Back to the top of the order, Ellie Trine, 0 for 2 today. And on the handle, able to whip it around for the base hit. Trine's going to be limited to a single as Katie Curran gets to that one quickly. But a 2-out base hit for Trine. However you want to interpret that.
And Ellie Trine finally falling below 400.
All right, Taylor Murdoch comes up. She has reached on a shortstop's error and on a right fielder's error so far, scoring last inning. And let's see who she picks on here. And off the elbow. And it's 2 on with 2 out now.
Murdoch doing a good job just trying to wear that pitch.
Well, it's her 14th time to be hit by pitch, so I'm wondering if that's the school record because there was a little bit of a celebration there with the arms in the air. You're welcome to tweet at us if you have been documenting these things. But only if you've been documenting it back to when they were Tri-State. Becoming Trine back in 2008. And I suspect she is the HBP queen. Here's Amanda Prey. They're trying to become the 3rd straight Thunder batter to reach with 2 outs. And now Trine caught off the bag. And well done by Bailey Roberts. Prather will have to wait until the 6th. Bailey Roberts and this defense execute, catching Ellie Trine for out number 3. Day one of our two-day championship series, ideal conditions. And for Trine, she's been the ideal pitcher this year, Adrienne Rossi. You know, in years past, we'll see maybe a team that has exactly one pitcher and she's throwing complete game gems all the way through and then runs out of steam maybe by the end of the week. And Rossi looked to be that pitcher through the first couple of games. Did not pitch yesterday. It appears to be good to go. It's just allowed just one run today against a team that's only lost once this year.
And depth of bullpen has been really important in this tournament so far for every team that we've seen. Most teams have had a 1-2 punch, two starters that have shouldered most of the games, and Adrienne Rossi has split time with two other pitchers for the majority of the season, Clausen and Keppel, who did a great job holding off their opponent yesterday so that Rossi could be fresh today.
She faces Caroline Helmer for the second time, struck out Helmer to end the second inning. Now we want to point out this ball's playable and dropped in foul territory. The captains have trailed now in 3 of their 4 games, a team that hasn't lost all week, and they allowed TLU to come back and tie a game 3-3 late. So it's not like it's been clear sailing for a team that's only lost once in their 46 games. They have found ways to win, as has been the case all year, including last weekend in those nail biters in the Super Regional. The 2-2 to Helmer. Shot up the middle. And the leadoff hitter is on for the captains. That's your tying run, potentially.
And again, one hit. And a good piece of hitting there. Great bat angle there. But one hit isn't going to be a big issue here for Rossi. It's really where we started to see the wheels fall off the cart for both teams, where we saw them score. And it was a hit coupled with an error, coupled with another defensive miscue or a miscommunication. We talk so often about how momentum can shift really easily, but it's also important that teams are able to keep isolated events as such, even if it's something like a solo shot.
Saw some warming up on the side. For CNU, Kensley Hess is on to run for Caroline Helmer after Helmer's leadoff single. And able to get the bunt down, only plays at first, and it is dropped. Hess will go over to third. If you make a mistake, you can't drown yourself in it. You've got to immediately get that ball and get it back into play. Base runners this week will make you pay.
Yeah, again, this whole concept of an isolated event, Carmichael was not going to let that happen, though. Again, being able to capitalize on some momentum generated by her team. You love to see that for Carmichael, who's having a great day today, seeing the ball well, executing where she needs to. Hitting the first inning, her first at bat. After a hitless tournament, she lays down that bunt nicely.
2 have come to the plate, 2 have reached. Runners on the corners, tying run 60 feet away. Here's Sarah Proctor. Put down a sac bunt last time, will do so again. They will not send the runner, and they will not get Proctor, bases loaded. So back-to-back balls that don't leave the infield. No out to show for it.
Well, a team that can rely offensively on the long ball here, playing a bit of small ball. Proctor nailing that bunt as well. What I love about this is we really see the captains' championship prowess because they settle in these moments where their back's up against the wall. And we were wondering what that was going to look like because of the fact they've only lost 1 game so far this season, but looks like they settle in and do a good job offensively of trusting what they can do and how they're going to produce.
They are going to review that last out. It's initiated by a challenge from Trine head coach Donnie Denkelson. In any review before the 6th inning has to be initiated by coaches. You get 2 all game. It's a question of what got there first, and it appears Proctor, as we would anticipate based on that look, that the call of safe will be upheld, but we'll wait on the folks in Pittsburgh, PA to relay that decision to our umpiring crew. Again, not a suicide squeeze. They were not sending the runner.
I mean, if you're going to have a hard time throwing a player out, it's going to be Proctor. Speedy center fielder.
Yeah, she's there.
26 for 26 stolen bases on the year.
This is the bottom half of your lineup coming through. Hess with a single. Carmichael reached on an error. That's going to be a single for Proctor. As we'll wait for confirmation, we're told it has been relayed to our umpires as they'll put the headsets up. We anticipate it's going to be upheld. Again, first time all year that Division III has had the benefit of replay. Same thing for Division II. We've seen it throughout D1. For D1, they also went to a centralized review off-site. And we're waiting for the indication, we assume, of safe. Bases loaded, nobody out. Keith Parr still has a couple of challenges. Donnie Dankelson down to 1. Once the 6th inning comes around, umpires can also ask for a review. They just want to get it right. 6, 7, and 8 hitters are all on the base paths. That's Hess, your pinch runner, on third. Carmichael on second, Proctor on first. Here is Maddie Houle, 0 for 1 today with a ground out to left. Middle of the infield has to suck in, so there really is not a traditional threat of a double play ball if that's the way you're willing to play it and conceded the tying run just to get out of the inning. I have to imagine coming home is the overwhelming priority to try to cling to this lead with nobody out.
And a well-hit ball by Maddie Houle will not give this tucked-in defense an opportunity to adjust their angle, really. They're going to have to hope that it's within range of the Thunder defense on the infield here. Otherwise, we're going to see multiple runs score potentially here.
Rossi has 4 strikeouts. She would welcome one here. Bases loaded, nobody out. CNU trailing by 1. A single, an error, and a single. The last 2 were bunts that never left the infield. Not many bunts do. That first bunt, again, not a suicide. The runner was going to stay on third unless there was some sort of miscue. Captain's making all the right choices so far this inning. Down by 1.
And Captain's doing a great job in showing how important it is to execute the game plan that you're given. That's why your coaches are there.
And Rossi strikes out Houle. 1-1.
And Rossi doing what Rossi does with that rise ball, starting it up at the letters, making it look really good. Eyes get wide, eyes get big from Houle. Thinks that she can get a piece of it. And a bit of frustration, but I like to call that passion.
Yeah, and she's got a couple teammates who are going to have opportunities, including an All-American right here.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to execute on behalf of your team.
Abernathy today, a flyout and a single. Caitlin was stranded on third, back in the third. She knows the feeling. She wants to bring Hess and some teammates home here, maybe to reclaim a lead even with 1 away. 5th batter this inning to face Adrian Rossi, who just struck out Houle for the first out.
Rossi really working that outside corner on these left-handed batters, and you can't see from the current camera angle, but right now it looks like the outfield is slightly shifted to the left, or excuse me, yeah, towards left field. There's a big gap over there in right center.
Ainsley Phillips rewarded there. She tried to frame that first pitch, didn't get the call. The second time won the favor. 1-1 offering, now 2-1. Even our scoreboard operator was, I think, a little thrown off. Abernathy right here is officially re-entering for a pie, who's been out there and left between the third inning and now.
Good choice there by Abernathy. Not able to get on top of it, slice it in half again. You're seeing so much upward movement.
Yep.
Rarely anything tailing down from Rossi. Really going to need to capitalize on that downward bat angle.
This is a 2-2 offering, as now the count goes full. The second pitch of this at bat, though it looked a lot like the first one, was called a strike. Thanks to the catcher Phillips being able to frame it up. Bases loaded, 1 out, and it's an RBI walk for Abernathy, and it's a tied ball game here in Salem.
That's a great at-bat by Abernathy. We don't see Rossi give up very many walks in general, only 18 on the season.
Abernathy pushes her teammates around 60 feet apiece on the merry-go-round.
Rossi really baiting Abernathy here. Again with that strikeout pitch. She got Maddie Cool out previously.
And this is playable. Out number 2. As Roberts retired on 1 pitch. 0 for 3 today against Rossi. The bases are still loaded with 2 outs. And here is Caitlin Hasty.
What a fun moment for Caitlin Hasty in her senior campaign and national championship to get this opportunity. 2 outs, bases loaded.
They've kept her quiet so far today. 0 for 2. 7th bat of this inning for CNU.
And Rossi going to have no option but to go right at Hasty. See if she can get the All-American with some swing and miss pitches. Been able to do so with the rise ball in previous at-bats. I believe this is Hasty's 3rd opportunity seeing Rossi. Has an idea what she's looking for, has an idea of where she's gotten caught, able to keep the discipline there. Hitters count here.
Lays off that one. Runner on third as Carmichael reached on the error as the second bat of this inning. The single from Proctor, she's on second. The RBI walk from Abernathy on first. Bases loaded for Hasty with 2 outs. It's a 2-1 count now. First strike in there from Rossi. Another All-American in a big situation. The last All-American walked a run home. Rossi just needs 1 more out. Hasty will launch this one off to left, and goodbye. Grand slam home run, Caitlin Hasty. And it's a 5-run 5th here in Game 1 of the National Championship Series in Division III.
You know what? Adrian Rossi has to go at Caitlin Hasty. She's kind of had her back up against the wall. Hasty lets that first inside pitch go right mid-thigh. Does not let that pitch go by a second time. A great adjustment there for Hasty. And there was going to be a captain on this squad who was going to capitalize in that situation. It was going to be Caitlin Hasty. Hats off.
19th bomb on the year. Biggest of 2022.
Getting a round of applause out here. And again, what I love about this CNU team is how they do not press regardless of what the scoreboard says. They are very calm, cool, and collected. They have some good energy in the dugout, but this team trusts themselves to use every single out, every single pitch, in every single game so far that we've seen from them, and all season long, that they'll be able to deliver within these 7 innings.
Both wins this week have been comeback wins. The exception was an extra inning win for CNU. Hasty has brought him back with 2 outs. Those are unearned runs. Another error this inning, proving costly. Here's Katie Curran. 9 home runs of her own coming into this week. Curran now 3 for 13 here in Salem. As Dennis Smith will make his way out for Trine to talk with Adrian Rossi. And in place of Katie Curran, this is Brooke Childress at the plate. Childress, a .313 hitter coming into this week, the sophomore. Officially 0 for 0 this week, swinging the bat. She's the 8th batter this inning. 1-1. A 1-run deficit has been turned into a 4-run lead. It was a tied game, and Caitlin Hasty launched a grand slam. Pulled foul and out of play. Winner of this will hope that there's just one game tomorrow in this best 2 out of 3 game series. The team that comes up short will still have a chance. But it'll be the first time we see either team having to bounce back from a loss this week. Count to Childress, 2-2.
Well, Childress and Curran, 2 sophomores on this captain squad that have split time both in the box and in the outfield. You're not seeing one, you're seeing the other. Proctor and Abernathy locking down those other 2 spots.
Rossi with her 6th strikeout, but it was a rough 5th. In a tied ball game. National championship implications. Caitlin Hasty.
Caitlin Hasty, what a time to be capitalizing.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Now pitching for Christopher Newport University as we start the 6th.
Well, she has been a highlight all week. Caitlin Hasty has been doing a lot of things with panache, but that time power. The grand slam pop to break open a 2-2 ball game, a 6-2 lead now on the grand slam.
Well, the highlight doesn't show it, but Hasty had to make sure that she was making adjustments in her at bat. Saw one almost identical to the one that she hit out right before. Must have resolved she wasn't going to let that pitch go by again. Rossi, maybe a little bit overconfident in that same spot, challenges the All-American. The All-American delivers.
Prather, Swartout, and Elliott due up this inning. Face Jamie Martin, and pardon me, Martin gives way to Kate Alger. And this isn't so much commentary on Martin, but this is how this has played out more often than not. These 2 freshmen combining. Give coach 7 or more innings. As Alger comes in here in the 6th.
Now, comparably to Martin, Alger is going to be more of a precision pitcher. Relies on hitting her spots. Probably see a couple more strikeouts from Alger, comparably to Martin. We're going to see more ground outs as well. Saw a ton of pop-ups and fly-outs with Jamie Martin.
Sack bunt today and a single for Prather. She was out at home for Trine when they thought they could catch the captain sleeping. That was going to be a tall task. After Trine had scored its first run, they would score one later in the 4th. The payoff pitch, that'll get through. 2nd hit today for Amanda Prather. She's 2 for 2.
And a hard hit ball from Prather. Looks like it also trips up Abernathy out there in left.
Got to it in time. And we are back to Abernathy after seeing a pie out there in left for a little while. Ashley Swartout has struck out twice today against Jamie Martin. She'll be possibly relieved to see Kate Alger. With 0 commentary on what that means from Alger, who's more than capable in her own right, just welcomes a different look. If Swartout can get on, Scarlett Elliott is up next, already with an RBI today. This one's playable in foul territory. And squeezed in. No, did not make the catch. As I think Caitlin Hasty's built up some goodwill. Here's another look.
Looks like Hasty just not able to fully execute.
Yep, just squeezed the glove a split second too soon. Had a second bite at the apple. But here's a second chance for Swartout now.
And sometimes it can be tricky. Anytime you're going up against a fence, the fence will win if there's a collision. So, important for players to give themselves a second, trust themselves, especially with the ball hit high like that. You actually have an opportunity to glance, see how far you are.
And that's a couple times. Hasty, a right-handed first baseman. If only she had been born left-handed, may have had a better chance at a foul ball. Just feeling out for the fence. I think it's all turned out okay, though. Swartout looking to run the bases for the first time, ahead of the count, 3-1. And she's informed it's a strike. Count goes full. Runner Prather still on first.
It was a really good pitch there by Alger. It was a lot of movement on that ball, but it was a strike. Into the very top of the strike zone. Just well executed.
All freshmen pitching today, no surprise. Kate Alger in her first inning of relief. And there is a walk. Both runners for Trine reaching here, nobody out. A single and a walk as Prather in scoring position. And Donnie Dankelson's going to make a personnel change and run for Swartout. I believe that's Wayne Vick.
Your attention, please. Pitch running at first for Trine, number 7.
Yeah, April Sellers, your pinch runner on first. For Trine. Running for Swartout, joined by Prather out there on the base paths. Scarlett Elliott comes to the plate, RBI single back in the fourth. Did that with 2 outs. At the time to give Trine a lead. So Elliott 0 for 1 today with a single and a strikeout. Prather, your runner on second. Sellers, the run on first. Trine looking to chip away at a deficit. Mindful already we're now in the 6th inning. But they still have all 6 outs to work with, including 3 here. And another throw down, but back in time is Prather. A big cut and a big first out for Kate Alger.
And Kate Alger, a pitcher that throws a lot of junk, but takes a bit more off of that one. Beautiful off speed, challenges Elliott. It's a good height. It's a good choice there by Elliott. Just gets fooled.
Here's Emma Byer. Similar line as Elliott. RBI single in the fourth, strikeout in the second. CNU was struggling to execute in that fourth inning. First time in a while we have more runs than errors. 6 runs on 5 hits for CNU, 2 runs on 5 hits for Trine. Each team with a couple of miscues. As Byer goes chasing 0-2. Not a save situation for Kate Alger. I think she's okay with that. Snagged by Roberts, looking for another great play, but back in time is Prather.
And I appreciate the tenacity of Roberts, even though we've seen a couple miscues by catchers so far this game.
Do you think she knew the whole time she had the ball and was hoping to bait the runner? This on the handle. Byer whips it around, playable, and squeezed in by Abernathy. Runners cannot tag as they have to hold still, 2 outs.
It's a good call there by Abernathy. We've seen in a couple previous contests where outfielders really should have let that ball go foul. But Abernathy able to get the out for her freshman pitcher. Hold the runner.
Yeah, it's a tougher decision for a right fielder, especially if the runner's already on third. But a left fielder with a runner on second, that's one you want. Here's Doherty, trying to get one through. She does. They will send the runner home. Prather will trim the deficit down to 3, and Mercedes Doherty does it again. She's in the starting lineup today. Comes up with 2 on, 2 out. As the 6th inning still alive, Amanda Prather comes home. The pinch runner Sellers just able to advance to second.
Well, it looks like Brooke Griever can't get her glove on that. And Carmichael pulls up a little bit. Not sure it would have been a playable ball for either of them, even if Carmichael had gotten a hold of it, but might have kept the run from scoring.
So with Anna Gill out of the 8th spot, 0 for 2 today.
Anna Gill has been so solid for this Trine offense. Executed bunts, been the runner, or been sometimes the only runner on base for the Trine offense.
Sellers, the pinch runner, is monitoring what Brooke Griever at third is doing. She has to pinch in to respect Gill, but at the same time, each time Griever's getting back to cover third for a throw. Gill today a strikeout and a pop out so far. All that was against Jamie Martin. This is her first time to see Kate Alger, who is now facing her 6th Trine hitter in relief this inning. 2-2. We've seen that call go both ways.
And both Roberts and Phillips doing a good job getting their body there, centering their glove in their body, or centering their glove in the center of their body. Make that pitch look really good.
Could not lay off it. So Kate Alger comes in relief in the 6th inning. 1 run crosses the plate for Trine, but it is still a 3-run lead for the captains, who hope to grab their bats for the final time until tomorrow. Eight batters came to the plate in the 5th for CNU. They have 5 runs to show for it. The only individual who did not come up, Brooke Griever, in the 5 spot, to make up for lost time here. It is also a new pitcher for Trine. Not new to them, but new to us, Lauren Clausen. As we saw Lauren already this week. As Adrian Rossi went the first 5. Clausen this week, a couple of appearances, has a win in her 3.3 innings of work. Just 2 hits in those 3 innings. Walked 1, struck out 1. No earned runs. Her job is just to keep it at a 3-run deficit. With the bottom half of the order coming up for the captains. Trine is not guaranteed a top of the 7th, but if they get there, they'll be down to their final 3 outs here in Game 1 of the softball championship in Division III. It's been your brain trust for quite a while over there in Newport News, Virginia. Folks making their way over from Indiana as well. So Griever, Helmer, and Carmichael due up to face Clausen. And Griever, a big reason why they are here today. Before Hasty's home run, you could argue Griever had the biggest one this week. Yesterday, walk-off, extra innings. That had been the first pitch of that inning. And she's got her first hit today against Trine.
And Brooke Griever's so solid over there at third base for the captains. Takes a pitch that's just played it a little bit too much, meant for the outside corner. Able to get her barrel around, poke it through the 3-4 hole.
They're going to run for Brooke as Jules Donnelly comes in.
Pitch running at first base for CNU, number 30, Jules Donnelly. Donnelly, pitch running at first for the captains. Also re-entering the number 6.
For Jules, we've seen her score a couple times already this week. Has a stolen base. We'll see how aggressive the captains want to be right now. Here's Caroline Helmer. Singled last inning. That would lead to a score as she led off the 5th inning. Her pinch runner would score the first of 5 runs in the 5th. That would be the tying run. That made it 2-all. Puts the bunt down. Foul ball. Well done by Scarlett Elliott. Boy, if you're a third baseman, you just have so many things racing through your head. Reading that ball, what's the risk? And eventually you realize, well, you're not going to have the throw, so now you just need to hope that it takes that turn. It did. And once it does, get on it before it changes its mind. This could be a double play as the shortstop, Prather, comes over. Make that catch. Little bobble. Not sure they would have had the out either way. 1 out.
Well, and to your point, Lincoln, of how many different scenarios any given player has to run through in their mind. We go through so many reps at practice so that when that ball is hit, all you're doing is reacting at that point, right? If you're doing too much thinking through a play, you're probably not going to nail it. That's why it's really good in those moments. You know, softball being a start and stop game, when we have the opportunity to take a look around, get some situational awareness, know where our next play is.
Meredith Brickner is going to be the pinch hitter for Natalie Carmichael. Natalie was 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored, reached on a single and an error. They will bring Brickner to the plate. The freshman out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, often a pinch hitter this year. She is 1 for 1 this week with 3 runs batted in. And that's not bad. So Brickner here in the 7th spot with 1 on, 1 out. Donnelly, your pinch runner. I don't know if the visual backed up why I said a pop-up might be a double play, but she was 3/4 of the way, and now she'll try to take second and does. Commits to the slide. It goes into center. Probably was not going to have a chance to turn towards third. But Donnelly now in scoring position with one away. Yeah, she looks to the dugout with a grin.
She chose to dive really early. Just scoots on in there.
One count here to Brickner.
And I say early relative to some of the other base stealers that we've seen so far on this field. Thinking of Kelly Jordan, actually, who feels like she was sitting on the bag every single time she stole the base.
We saw a few slides that weren't too graceful. We've seen a lot this week, and we remember some of it.
And history has been made this week by the crew here. 6 games on Saturday. It's a lot of softball, folks, about over 12 hours at least. We could not do what we do without them.
You say that, but these two teams, I only remember seeing them once that day. As Brickner goes down on strikes as the pinch hitter, 2 away. Strikeout for Clausen.
Big hack there for Clausen.
So here's Sarah Proctor, had a sac bunt in the 3rd inning, a single, and scored last inning. Came home on the home run from Hasty.
And Sarah Proctor, another player on this captain's offense that's been really fun to watch. Really solid out in center. Going to have the most stolen bases. 26 on 26 on the season.
Trine has their 9, 1, and 2 hitters coming up in the 7th. Here's Proctor, 4th bat of this inning against Clausen. Count 1 and 2. Well, big thanks to our grounds crew here in Salem, as this field has looked fantastic for each and every game this week, including that alleged 6-game day. If it did occur, that was back on Saturday. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 away here to Proctor. The runner Donnelly on second after swiping the bag. Punched opposite field, foul. Diving effort, but Murdoch comes up maybe a foot shy.
Well, with a powerful offense, Clausen's going to have her work cut out for her. And Proctor going to be one of those kids that is able to generate RBI power, 8 home runs on the year, but leads this team right now in doubles. This is a great situation for her to be in if she wants to get some more insurance for Kate Alger.
Got her. So Trine will pick up their bats. They have 3 outs from comeback, trailing by 3. When you rejoin us for the top of the 7th here on NCAA.com.
We head to the 7th inning. Here in game 1 of our championship series with the score, the captain 6.
Seventh inning of the only game of the day. We'll play either 1 or 2 tomorrow, as it's game 1 of the Division III Softball Championship Series. 8 teams entered Salem this week. We're down to the final 2 in a best-of-3 game series now. And it's the Trine Thunder down to their final 3 outs here in the top of the 7th. They would be your home team in the 2nd game, which would be the first of tomorrow. Here's Ainsley Phillips, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. All of that was against Jamie Martin. It's her first time to come up and face Kate Alger.
And Phillips filling a very important role behind the dish for the Thunder. They did not know who was going to take that spot after graduating 2 senior catchers. But Phillips has some maturity, seen her grow a lot this season.
See her counterpart Bailey Roberts behind the plate, catching a couple of freshmen all season long. Martin went 5 innings. Alger now in her 2nd inning of relief. She inherited a 4-run lead, so again, not a save situation. Jamie Martin would be your winning pitcher if the captains denied Trine the ability to force a bottom of the 7th. The 2-2 to Phillips. Out towards left, coming in, Abernathy can't make the catch. And Trine still has 3 outs to work with a runner on. First hit of the day for Ainsley Phillips, and now it's time for the top of the order.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be the hardest hit ball or the best line shot in order to drop into the pocket. Phillips able to get a piece of it, keep her team in this thing.
Here's your player of the year in the conference, the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Ellie Trine, 1 for 3. We're in a foul territory. It'll get down. Moments ago, the single from Ainsley Phillips. Give them a boost of confidence. See if some of her teammates can join her on the base paths. Trine, the junior that, quote, makes us go, according to her head coach. Got hot in conference play, continued through the postseason. Fixture in the top of this order. Facing Alger for the first time. This is the 8th batter in relief Alger has faced. 6 of them last inning when she first stepped into the circle. Phillips on first with nobody out. The 2-1 to Trine.
We've seen some defensive miscues throughout this tournament. That alleged 6-game day was like something had taken over some of these really solid defenses. A lot of miscues that day. Saw some really beautiful defense yesterday.
Ellie just fights that one off. Count stays 2-2. Phillips stays on first.
So far today, the captains have been able to make the least amount of mistakes and capitalize when the Thunder has allowed runners on base, regardless of how they got there.
Lays off it. Made the right choice. Full count to Trine. Teammate on first. Nobody out. Here in the 7th, down by 3. There will be a tomorrow. You'd much prefer to wake up with already 1 win under your belt. Taylor Murdoch on deck. Amanda Prather, if anybody else can reach, or avoid a double play, I should say, in the hole. Kate Alger's 2nd inning in relief for the freshman. And the count's going to stay at 3-2.
Alger, of the 2 freshman pitchers, is going to rely much more on ground outs and strikeouts, comparably to Jamie Martin, who will rely on her defense a bit more with balls in the air.
1 away.
Case in point. again, Alger doing a great job getting that swing and miss pitch. And even though many players have seen that all weekend long from multiple pitchers, it still looks good. Eyes still get big. Some just can't lay off it.
That'll bring up the senior Taylor Murdoch. Came up in the 5th and was hit by a pitch. 14th time she's been hit by a pitch. That is a single season mark for Trine. She's number 2 all time for the program. Something to strive for over the next 24 hours. She has reached twice on air and has been hit by a pitch. She finds a way. All of that was against the previous regime of Jamie Martin. She's the 9th batter that Kate Alger faces in relief over these 2 innings. Think about a player aware of her stats. When she was hit by that pitch, both arms went in the air in celebration. You thought they might pause the game for a ceremony. Lays off the 0-2. This inning began with Ainsley Phillips' single. Since then, a strikeout of Trine, 1 on, 1 out.
Well, you have to love a player who's willing to get on and contribute to her team in any way possible. Murdoch just happens to be a ball magnet. Sometimes that happens. And players just have that gift.
Wonder if she lost her knack right there. As able to get out of the way of that one. 2-2. Freshman in the circle, senior swinging a bat. Trine needs more than just Ainsley Phillips to come around to score this inning. They have 2 outs to score at least 3. And even then would not be guaranteed anything. CNU, the home team today. Trine will get to be the home team in game 2. And our home plate umpire, Leslie Anderson, comes out for a chat. There's a time earlier in the game after some foul balls. Brought some new ones into the fold. I think she's just adding more to her collection.
And there are a couple different approved towels approved by the NCAA that pitchers can use, but the rule is you're going to go to the towel before you go to the ball. You have to wipe your hand on your pants. And if there's any sticky residue left on the ball, that ball leaves the field of play, never to be seen again.
You get a caution as a souvenir. Count full with 1 out to Taylor Murdoch. After a single and a strikeout so far. Ainsley Phillips led off with a single. She is still there. That's not a huge concern because she needs to be the first of several to score. Payoff pitch. Trine is down to their final out here in game 1 of the championship series.
And that is a great at-bat by Taylor Murdoch. Unfortunate it doesn't go her way. Gets fooled here by another great rise ball by Kate Alger. Again, starting it at the waist. It looks good. Again, if you're going to choose that pitch, have to have a downward bat angle. And that may be the only pitch you're looking for if that's the one you're choosing.
And a first pitch strike to Amanda Prather today. Prather, 2 singles, a run, and a sacrifice bunt, and they're asking for more here. It's her 2nd time to see Kate Alger. She led off last inning with a single against the freshman and would come home to score the most recent run. She's hoping to bring a teammate home. 0-2 count. Folks who made the trek from Newport News, Virginia, know they get to stick around for a game or 2 tomorrow, but they are hoping this is the final strike from Kate Alger for the punctuation on game 1. And pray they're not doing any favors for the freshman in the circle. Prather, your RBI leader for Trine this year. Count 2-2 after it began in an 0-2 hole.
Prather also leading this Trine offense in doubles and has conveniently gotten hot in the national championship tournament and added 2 home runs.
8 RBI already this week. Launch from Prather into left, snagged by Abernathy, ball game. Your number 1 seed. The captains of CNU are 4-0 this week, 46-1 on the year, and more importantly, 1 win away from their first national championship in Division III softball. But for the Thunder of Trine, they've suffered their first loss this week. They will live to play again, they hope twice tomorrow.
We saw the calm, cool, collected, and composed offense of the CNU captains, led by Caitlin Hasty, who launches that grand slam in the 5th inning to seal the deal for the captains. Trine putting up a good fight. We'll have to see if they can take one for the captains, giving them their 2nd loss on the season.
We will talk to you again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Trine will be in the home dugout, CNU across the way. Captains will have a chance to sweep and remain with just that lone blemish on the year. Captains have now put together their 2nd 23-game winning streak on the season, looking to make it 24 in a row. For Cindy Gearbrack and our entire NCAA.com crew, we'll talk to you tomorrow, at least for 1 game, if not 2, to close out 2022 here in Salem, Virginia. The captains take the first game, 6-3 over the Thunder.